Last week on here, I said that this year is the next year. That I don't think that there is a team in the NBA that can keep up with the Brooklyn Nets offensively. The only thing that can stop the Brooklyn Nets from winning the NBA title this year is the Brooklyn Nets. Now, to be clear, the Nets are still the favorites, in my opinion, to win it all this year. But I am beginning to see some chinks in the armor. I'm starting to seriously question the Nets' motivation. That thing I just said about the only thing that can get in their way from winning it all is the Nets themselves. They are at risk of that exact thing happening. Let me just start with Kyrie Irving. If you have been following me here on the channel for a while, then you already know that Kyrie Irving is my least favorite player, not just in the NBA, across all of professional sports. Kyrie Irving's a lunatic, just to be honest with you. It is a rare occasion that I actually agree with him or I defend him, but I'm going to do that a little bit today, at least for a minute or two. Then we're going to go right back to criticizing Kyrie Irving. Now, Saturday night, the Lakers and the Nets had the big national TV game on ABC, prime time. Both Dennis Schroeder and Kyrie Irving were ejected. I think it was early in the third quarter when this happened. And believe it or not, this was the first time that Kyrie Irving had ever been ejected from a game. Both of them were ejected for getting face to face with each other, confrontation. And then after that, they were taunting each other, so they got tossed. Now, I don't know what the hell has happened to the NBA. When I was growing up in the 90s, it was damn near impossible for a player to get ejected from a game. They would get into physical confrontations. All the refs would really do is just separate them, and the game just moved on. They didn't get ejected for it. The NBA of today compared to 15, 20 years ago, it's just soft. Anyway, during that confrontation I just told you about Saturday night, Dennis Schroeder supposedly called Kyrie Irving the N-word. And Kyrie took offense to it. He was insulted by it. Kyrie has been pushing for black people in this country to quit using the N-word altogether. He took to Twitter Sunday morning and explained why African Americans just shouldn't use the N-word against each other, even when they're using it as a positive, as a term of endearment. He says they shouldn't do it. Now, very rarely do I say this about Kyrie Irving, but he actually makes a lot of sense. Me personally, I've never understood how that word, when spoken by black people, is viewed as positive, but when it's said by anybody else, it's viewed as a negative or an insult. To me, a word is a word. I don't believe that Dennis Schroeder was trying to insult Kyrie Irving, but I'm actually impressed that Kyrie called him out for it. He is practicing what he preaches, which is a rarity nowadays. So I commend Kyrie Irving for taking this stand. Good for him. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to what I'm seeing going on with the Brooklyn Nets right now and why I am concerned about them heading into the playoffs. Kyrie Irving was supposed to miss last night's game against the Timberwolves. The game ended up getting canceled anyway, but he was scheduled to miss it. Not because of an injury, not because of rest or load management. Kyrie Irving was going to miss that game due to personal reasons. Again, this is the third time this season that he has missed time for personal reasons. Hell, he missed damn near the entire month of January. He was on some kind of damn sabbatical or something. I don't know what it was, but he missed 2 or 3 weeks back then. He missed 3 games in March due to family matters. Now look, everyone has personal and family situations that arise at certain times. We've all had to miss work at some point because of personal or family issues. But this is happening with far too much regularity with Kyrie Irving. This is becoming a real problem. And it kind of puts Steve Nash in a little bit of an awkward situation. He's a rookie head coach. You have 3 of the biggest stars in the NBA on your roster, and 2 of them are lacking motivation over halfway through the season. We'll get to Kevin Durant in just a second and what I mean about that with him. But Kyrie Irving has missed 16 games this year. That is 30% of the Nets' games. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, it's just the regular season. Kyrie will show up for the playoffs. But will he? I mean, will he? If you're Steve Nash, are you really all that confident that you can rely on Kyrie Irving in the playoffs? What happens if he gets one of his political activist kicks and he has a rally that he wants to attend that happens to fall on the same day as a game 2 or a game 3? Or what happens if Kyrie Irving just isn't in the mood to play basketball that day? He needs some personal time. Plus, the Nets' big three of Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden, they have barely shared the floor together this season. They haven't played much together at all. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to some people, but it can be. Once you get into the playoffs, your mistakes are magnified. And mistakes are bound to happen when you have 3 guys who aren't familiar playing with each other, not used to playing together. That's what the regular season is about. That's what it's for, to work out all of those kinks. You can't afford to do that in the playoffs when every possession counts. So the Nets have Kyrie Irving, whose mind is God knows where. Doesn't seem like it's focused on winning a championship in Brooklyn. Then you have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant tells Rachel Nichols over at ESPN the other day that winning a championship is not his primary motivation either. What? I mean, I thought that was everybody's motivation in the NBA, winning the title. If winning a championship's not your driving force as an NBA player, then what the hell is? What are you doing? Well, according to Kevin Durant, he is motivated by development. He's motivated by being the best player in the world, which, on one hand, perfectly fine. But that's also easy for Kevin Durant to say at this point, because he already has multiple rings. I mean, James Harden has got to be freaking out. He came to Brooklyn to win a title, get that one thing added to his legacy that's missing. And his 2 co-stars, they don't seem like they give a damn about winning right now. Now, this is just pure speculation on my part, and maybe I'm reading a bit too much into Kevin Durant's comments, but this is just my guess. When he left Oklahoma City for Golden State, I really think he thought that if he led them to a championship by beating LeBron James, after the Warriors couldn't do it the year before, that Kevin Durant would be viewed as the best basketball player in the NBA. That didn't happen. Kevin Durant moved to Golden State. It actually turned him into the NBA's biggest villain. And to this day, when people talk about who the best player is in the NBA, 99 out of 100 say it's LeBron James. And I think that bothers Kevin Durant. With that being said, I would think he would be extra motivated to win a title this year, to prove to everyone that he could build his own team and win one. But apparently not. Apparently the only drive he has left is to be the best player in the league, which is an individual accomplishment, not a team accomplishment. With the mindset of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, it starts to make sense why the Nets are one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. Defense in basketball is all about effort. Kyrie Irving is more worried about voting rights in Madagascar. Kevin Durant, he's more worried about eclipsing LeBron James. It's pretty bad when James Harden is the best defender of the 3 players. But the defense in Brooklyn, it could be a real issue for the Nets come the playoffs. Offensively, no one in the NBA is going to be able to match them. But when they go up against some of the better defensive teams in the league, it could become a real problem. The Jazz, the Nuggets, the Lakers, when they're healthy, they can all lock you down defensively. The Nets can't stop anybody. So what can happen in the playoffs is just what happened the other night against the Lakers. The Lakers, without LeBron and AD, built a big lead on the Nets, and they could not get stops. The defense is something that can be fixed, though I'm not sure Steve Nash is the coach to do it. He never focused on defense throughout his NBA career either, which is one of the main reasons why he never made it to an NBA Finals. But the defense could be fixed. The mentality issues, though, with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, That is the main thing that has me concerned right now with the Nets. There is nothing that Steve Nash or anybody else can do to fix that. Kevin Durant, he might get his motivation back. At least his primary motivator still pertains to basketball at this point. Kyrie Irving, though, Kyrie Irving might be too far gone. The issues with Kyrie, these are not new. This has been going on for a while now, basically his entire NBA career. It's almost like he wants to be a part-time NBA player. You can't win a championship with one of your core pieces not 100% focused on basketball. It's just impossible. And it always seems like it's something with Kyrie Irving. He had problems with LeBron in Cleveland because he wanted to be the guy. He wanted to be the leader of a championship team, not the number two. He forced a trade to Boston, where he could be exactly that. The Celtics were young. Kyrie was supposed to be the veteran leader in that locker room, and he clashed with everyone in Boston. Now in Brooklyn, nothing but problems again with Kyrie Irving. It seems like he is more concerned with being the next Barack Obama than the next Michael Jordan. Anyway, time for you guys to let me know what you think. Should we be concerned about the Nets? Should we be worried about them? Or am I making too big of a deal out of all this? If none of these issues that I just outlined improve and the Nets continue to suck defensively, are they still the favorites to win the NBA Finals? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.